Hello, humans, and welcome to another episode of Gen X Gamer. Today, a raw episode. Absolutely raw. Why? Because I forgot my laptop at work in my backpack. And in there, I have even my camera holder, my everything. So I'm holding in my phone in a weird position with a tripod to try to get this video out to you because it's a great story. It's a story about when I worked at a pizza slash donut shop to make money so I can play games. Let's talk. All right, guys. So, back in the day, when I was 14 years old, I really wanted to play in the arcades a lot more than I was able to. Up to this point, whenever, my grandma or somebody would give me $1, I'd go and play. But I was entering the first year of high school. Everybody's trying to adjust, right? And one of the big things people used to do back then is go to the arcade. Let me see if I can get an angle here. Go to the arcade and have a great time, right? Usually spend 20 bucks, 10, $15, 30 bucks. I mean, that was what people would do. This is where all the cool people would hang out, right? I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that because I didn't have the money, you know? 2 years prior, my dad had died. We were on the struggle. We had all our basic necessities, but we didn't have enough money for those kind of things. You know what I'm saying? And, being a young man trying to adjust in high school, I mean, it was hard, man. And I knew that if I had nothing, that I couldn't do any of the activities the other kids could do. You know what I'm saying? At this point, we're talking about field trips, stuff like that. I knew that I had to make extra money. It was a time of growing up where I realized that, that dream that I had that my dad was going to come to the rescue someday was never going to happen. That if I needed to do things, I would have to do them on my own, and I would have to earn my own way, work through life my own way, and usually by myself. There was nobody coming to save the day, which is, a growing up point, right, for when you're 14 and stuff like that. But, I have to look back fondly at video games because that's really what drove me. If it wasn't for that, wanting to play, nothing else would have motivated me to get a job. It wasn't going to be girls because, all I had to do was smile. I'm kidding, guys. But no, it was wanting to be in the arcades and stuff. And I knew, hey, you know what? I had to step up. So I was actively always looking for a job, even like when I was 13, and. But finally, I got it when I was 14, right? Because I was bugging my mom all the time, like, hey, I'm going to go out and get a job. I don't care. I'm going to work with my friends. And, I had a couple of friends who were like older than me, and they're like, dude, just come and work. We're going to get stuff sorted out. Well, I think my mom knew that I was going to do it regardless. So then she talked to this lady that was a friend of hers in the coffee shop where she would get coffee every morning and told her, my son wants to, work and get a job. So she said, yeah, send him down and, we'll do something. So I'm thinking I'm going to be helping around, right? I'm going to help clean up the shop or, mop the floors, that kind of stuff. Boy, was I wrong. You know what I was going to be doing, guys? I was going to be handling the cash register. I was going to be selling donuts because this place was donuts and pizza. Right? And it was open, from 6 in the morning to 10 at night. And I was going to be the closing guy and the floater. And what was I going to make? How much money was I going to make? Get ready for this. A big $2 an hour. Oh yeah, baby. I was rolling in the cash. My paychecks a week were anywhere from $12 to $24. Just what I needed. And, next in this shopping center that I was going to be working at, was also the 7-Eleven. The 7-Eleven where I played so many of the games. And it was the only place by our condos where we could actually, play video games. Everything else was farther away, right? And they always, I had to give it to them. They always had pretty much the latest and greatest games. One of them being Kung Fu. I love me some Kung Fu. You know what I mean? Love me some Kung Fu. Ghosts and Goblins. Yup, they got it there, right? So whenever I had free time, now that I had money, a couple of bucks, I would go down with my friends and play there, right? And before that, I would have to wait till somebody gave me a buck to go down there and play. So I learned a lot of lessons in there. It was really tough. I mean, there were some funny moments, right? So you can imagine, would you buy a pizza from a 14-year-old kid? You imagine walking in there and some kid, 14 years old, is asking you, what do you want to order? What's your food, right? It's very common actually in some places, you know, around the country, but not everywhere, right? It's not usually to see that in the city, right? But man, I really, really, really wanted to play video games, right? And guys, I didn't know how to cook. I didn't know anything about anything. I was just a kid, right? And I learned a lot of lessons, man. We used to sell, besides the pizza, we used to sell ham sandwiches, ham and cheese sandwiches, right? In the morning, they would add an egg. That was a breakfast sandwich. And at night, you just took out the egg and it's ham and cheese sandwich. And I remember the first one that I made, the very first one, man, I was trying so hard. And we had a microwave, which is a big deal back then. And we had a microwave, and I made it there. I toasted the bread separately. I was trying to be careful. And I give it to the guy. Really nice Asian man. And now I look back and see how patient he was, and he understood that I was just a kid. At that moment, I was just like petrified. I didn't know that the ham that we had a plastic wrapping around the corner. So when I cooked it, oh yeah, man, he took that big bite and pulled out, and the cheese was nice and melty. So I was like, yeah, I got the cheese right. But along with that cheese, that's a big piece of plastic. And he's like, why is it plastic in my sandwich? Forgot to take it off, man. Ah, wow, but he wasn't too bad, I mean, at first he was upset, and then, when he saw my face, he was like, "This is just a kid." And this other time, right? This other time, these kids came by, and they're like terrible kids, right? When I say kids, remember I'm 14, these guys are 16, 17, they're outside, and they're like, "We're gonna wait for you," because I didn't want to give them free pizza. They came in and they wanted free pizza, or they were gonna beat me up, one of the two. And I'm like, dude, I can't. If it wasn't at my job, I would have given up the pizza like that. But I didn't want to get fired. There's no way I was getting fired and not be able to make money so I could go play video games. I'd rather get my ass beat. See, that's love for video games. That's love right there, guys. So man, I waited these fools out. They waited for me until about 10:30 at night. I closed at 10. So what I did is when they weren't seeing, I closed up the lights. I turned the shop down. I locked the door and everything. Turned off the lights. And this place had windows all around, the front, like 3/4 of it. And what I did is I hid underneath one of the tables, and I can hear them outside. Hey, I think he went through the back. This fool slipped us. He slipped on us. And yeah, man. And then after that, I waited an extra half an hour to leave. But man, I was petrified, and I wasn't going to tell my family any of this stuff because then they would not let me work, and then I wouldn't have money. I wouldn't have that spending money. You know what I'm saying? So, the last but not least, there was this kid there one time, and now by this time I've been working there. I want to say 3 months, 4 months, and Saturday nights were pretty much the same. This was a shopping center where most people would just come to the dry cleaners and the 7-Eleven. They would come, and get their coffee in the morning. During the day, I mostly, when I was there, I mostly sold coffee and sodas, maybe a donut here and there. But that was about it. In the summer, we had a little ice cream machine that would get the snow cones, what have you. And, of course, the pizza. Once in a while, I would sell pizza. This one particular Saturday, it was dead pretty much like every Saturday, right? And this guy comes in probably about, I don't know. I want to say it was 5:30, 6 o'clock around there, right? And the guy's like, he bought a soda or something, and he's just sitting there sipping it. And he goes, "Hey, dude, can you break me off some pizza?" And I'm like, "Nah, bro, I can't." He's like, "Well, don't you get lunch? Give me half your pizza." And I'm like, "No, like, uh-uh." And he's like, if you give me some pizza, I got this little special, uh, and I don't want to say it because I want to get the video banned, guys, but he was rolling dubs, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, "I'll share a doob with you." And I'm like, "Nah, dude, I'm good. I'm good." At this point, I maybe drank beer once or twice, I got kind of buzzed, but I really didn't like it. It's not that I'm good at two shoes. Trust me, guys, I did worse things later on in life, but it's never been my thing. Not that I've never done it. It's just never been my thing. And back then, it didn't really appeal to me. All the kids at my school were doing it. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them. But it's kind of just didn't like the smell, really. But I was bored to tears, man. I really was bored to tears that day. But anyway, he kept on bugging me and asking me, and I'm like, "Nah, dude, it's cool." But he wouldn't leave. The guy would not leave, and he had to be, you know, 18, 19 years old around there. And he's just, "Don't be a wuss. Just come on. We'll get the munchies and we'll eat and it'll all be good, and all this stuff." And I think it was about 7:30. I was like, "All right, worst decision I ever made," but I said, "All right, let's do this." It's gonna be like a beer. I imagine I might as well get it out of the way, so I know how it feels. That was my deal, and I could say I did it. I started thinking like that, immature kid, right? So we go in the back, brings it out. He's showing me how to do it, and we come out, and I'm making the pizza. Okay, this is gonna be my lunch because I did get a small pizza for lunch every day that I worked, or I could get donuts, whatever. So there I am, making the pizza, and as soon as I put this pizza in the oven, it hit me like nothing have ever hit me before, guys. I was so baked. I was so baked. I was like, my mind felt like it was out of my head. I was just high. I was just high. And the guy was laughing like, "Oh, dude, you got a good buzz." He's telling me all about it, and I can't even hear him because my brain is just like, blah. I bring out the pizza. I don't even eat it. I think I took a bite or something. He ate the whole pizza and left. Now I'm there by myself. Luckily, there's nobody coming in, and I'm just looking at the clock like, "Oh my God, I just need to get out of here, I need to get out of here," and I'm hoping the buzz goes away, right? And it's not going away. It's not going away. So finally, like 9 o'clock comes, I think, somewhere around there. Yeah, 9 o'clock. And I'm like, "Okay, all right, we're in the final stretch." At 9:30, somebody walks in and wants to order a pizza, and I'm supposed to say no. I'm supposed to say no because it's 9:30, but I don't because I'm not in my right state of mind. You know, um, for whatever reason, this guy, I didn't know that you were just, like if you just wanted to depend how much you actually smoked, that's how high you got. I had no clue. I only should have taken a couple of drags or whatever the guy was showing me. But we finished the entire thing, and man, it was bad. It was bad. So I don't say no. I start making this pizza, which ends up being the most horrible pizza that I had ever made since or after I worked there. Right? It was just horrible, guys. And the pizza's done maybe about 10:05 or something. I can't remember. It's just like I finally bring it out and give it to this guy. The pizza's not even round. Okay, I made tons of pizzas before, and they're always round, and I can't get this one round, and I don't know why. And I'm kind of like, But now I'm entering the paranoia stage, right? I'm just paranoid. And man, this guy gets a pizza, and he's like upset, like, "What the heck is this, man? Like, what's going on? Like, this is not even done right." And then complaining, and I'm gonna tell your manager and all this stuff, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh," like, "Oh geez," like I can't, like I'm not able to handle this, and I'm like, "I gotta close, I gotta close, I gotta close." So then he leaves. He ends up taking the pizza anyway, and then I close the store, and then I'm freaked out because I want to go back home. because I don't want my mom to see me that I'm like this. Like I went in the mirror and I looked and my eyes were like flaming red, like, oh my God. Guys, oh man, I grew up a lot that day, you know. I knew that I had to know like my limitations, and it was tough working there. It was tough because, people wouldn't take me seriously because I was 14, but I also had a lot of fun. It was hard work. I did have to clean. I was the cashier. I didn't have any other, they didn't make any, you know, they didn't give me any breaks because I was 14. I had to work just as hard as everybody else that worked there, which is a couple other people. And the expectations were high on me, and I screwed up that time. And, that was the last time, after that, I took my job seriously. I tried to do a good job. I never wanted to be in that kind of position again. And, it was ended up being a great experience, and it was all because I wanted to play video games. If it wasn't for that motivating factor, I would have never taken that job. But guys, there's a lot of things that I remember about that place. One of them was the music of the 80s, Billy Idol, Tina Turner, everything that was playing on MTV. I had on a little radio in the back, always blasting in the background, trying to make my day go faster because, I was mopping, cleaning, sweeping, and I would have people from my school come, buy things, and some of them pretty friendly, and some of them would look down, as people tend to do even now, they'll look down on people that think that they're better than, and they knew I had to work, at that point, like, I couldn't pretend I was well to do it or anything because, I was working, but you know what? I didn't mind, it taught me a little bit of humbleness, not much, but a little bit, It taught me how judgmental people were. It taught me about how work. It taught me that I had to, that I was on my own, that there was not going to be any easy roads for me. It was never going to be easy, and I realized that back then. Those were the first seeds of me being, in the type of life I led, which always had to do with hard work. It doesn't matter what I did, just like today. If I wanted something, I was going to have to work my ass off, and that's where it started. That's where it started, and it started because I wanted to play video games. I wanted to be in the arcades. I wanted to do what my friends did. But you know what? The difference is I earned it. I earned every single arcade trip that I made from that point on. I earned every single game. Every experience was that much sweeter because I knew how many floors I had mopped. I knew how many toilets I had to clean in order to get that game or have that weekend, and yeah, it was tough. I'm not going to say that it was, all roses or anything like that, but it taught me how to deal with people. It gave me work experience that I needed for my second job. And it was just a great way to start. And it's been another way that video games impacted my life. They really have. For some people, it's a hobby. For some people, they're great stories, nice family memories. For me, they were my getaway. They were my therapy, right? And even if I had to struggle doing these things, because there was days, guys, where people would throw soda on the floor and sugar, and I had to come in and it was just mopping, mopping for 3 hours, and then after that do the toilets, and then after that, my coworkers were, working the cash register, and then after that I would get to be in the front of the store and do the rest of the stuff. And man, it taught me to be responsible. It taught me that there was not going to be any, angels coming my way, that I had to be my own angel, and I had to be my own person. I had to be my own man. And you know what? I'm grateful for it. I really am. And none of it would have came to pass if it wasn't for me wanting to play those games. And those lessons I keep to today. Those memories I keep to today. And they're great to reminisce on. So if you're out there and you're struggling and you don't know why things are happening to you, maybe you've had losses, maybe you've gone through things where you think, man, this is kind of not fair. because that's how I felt sometimes. How much crappier does it get? I'm removed from my home. My dad died. I have nothing, and here I am scrubbing toilets at 14. And I'm doing these things where my friends are out there in the park having fun, playing things, and my childhood is I'm not doing what other kids are doing. But it prepared me. It prepared me for when times got tough. When times got tough afterwards, and my friends that were playing and and they're having that great time, when they were folding like butterflies because they had to get a job and they're complaining about how much time they had to spend on the office, I was laughing. Overtime, they complained about overtime. I loved overtime. That's how I exceeded the expectations of my bosses moving forward. They were like, why is this guy so happy coming to work? You know why I'm so happy? Because I don't have to clean the toilet. I'm coming to work and I don't have to clean the toilet. I don't have to mop floors. I'm doing this great job for you. And you know what? I'm going to go home happy and actually get a paycheck. And I'm going to get paid more than $2 an hour for doing this, which is what I got paid at the donut shop. Anyway, guys, I'm just ranting now. But you know what? I still love that donut shop. And every time I'm in Montebello, California, I stop by just to look at it, just to remind myself of where it came from and all the lessons that I've learned along the way. Keep working hard and never, ever be afraid to be happy. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.